How was the rest of last night?
Nice.
It was a nice crowd. It was like a surprisingly warm. There were some people that I didn't know well, and
There's a new woman, Allie, who was here. Who was, studying with Weinberg.
And I love Harry. Harry is so sweet.
Do you know what Harry's new path is? Just wrote him a recommendation to study at YCT's Beit Midrash program next year. He wants to go to Biblical school. He's not sure what movement. She's going to business school, I think.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. Oh, he's a really
I'll miss them around the community. But yeah.
I would too, but if that's when he wants to follow, man, I'd write that.
I know. All right, I'm going to start. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin with Birkot HaShachar. Birkot HaShachar, morning blessings, page 103 in the Lev Shalem, 65 in the Slim Shalom, 10 in the Sim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sech vivina lavchim ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam shasani b'tzamo. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam shasani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam bokeh chirim. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam abi sharumim. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam atir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kifufim. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam raka arts al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai mechalam hamechim mitzad Baruch atah mechalam shasali kol tzorki. Baruch atah mechalam zesra b'gvura. Baruch atah mechalam teisra b'tifara. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam anotein li'ayev koah. Udneinu ayom v'choyom l'chen l'chesed rachamim b'nechem v'nei choreinu v'tigmalenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim l'mo Yisrael. Le'olam yihei damrei shamayim v'aseder v'galuvim. Ki chol maseinu tohu v'meichenu hevel lefanechem motar hadamin habehema ayin ki hakol havel aval nachnu chabnei v'ritecha v'no'am. Ashvena my tavchokina my nine gorli my afayushatenu ashvena shenachnu mashkim barivim erev avokev yomarim hamay b'choyom shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Kadesh Shimcha Mati Shemcha Bekadesh Shimcha Violemecha Vishurcha Tarim Etagbia Karninu Baruch Adonai Bekadesh Shimcha Barabim.
Amen.
Rabbi Ishmael Omer Bishlosh Esrei Midot Hatarani Josh Anikava Chomer Mitzvah. Kol Zay Pashem. Davar Lamei Binyano, Davar Lamei Misofa V'chein Shnech Tuvim Machshim Zed Zed Shivah Ketuva Shleshi V'Yechveh Benehen. Yehi Ratzon Fenachem Eloheinu V'Atenu Shetiten Chalkein B'Torah Techa V'Nemi Tamidav Shel Aaron HaKohen Ohev Shalom V'Rodev Shalom Ohev V'Tabriyodim V'Karban LaTorah.
We're 9. You want to give me a second?
No. Page 112, Psalm for Shabbat. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh Shabo Ayu Elohim Amim B'Beit HaMikdash Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbat. Odinabun Beseba Deshenim Rananimiu Lagid Kesharonai Tsuri Blatabo. Page 120, 81 or 50. Mizmor Shir Chanukah Rabbi LeDavid Rabbi Chaim Tolis Makam Adonai Lo Shivati Lechad Dirbaini. Hafachta Mispedi Lamachal Levi Takta Saki Betazreni Simcha Lamani Zamrecha Chavavalo Yidom Adonai Elohai Leolam Odeka. We rise for Baruch She'amar, page 122, 83 or 54. Baruch She'amar Be'olam Baruch Hu Baruch Hu. Yachi Cheolamim Melech Meshubach Umfordet Shemo Gadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mehulal Bat Yishbachot. May be seated. Hodu L'Adonai Kiru Vishmo Hodir Amim Alilotah. Ki gadol na'mulavi omer norahu al kol Elohim ki kol Elohim milidim V'Adonai shamayim asad v'dal v'nabaz v'cheva b'inkomon. Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'adom raglav kadoshu Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'har kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu v'rachum yichaper bon v'lo yashiv v'bar l'shiva povlet v'chamato Ata Adonai lo tichar rachamechem. Adonai tzvarim miskavla noel Yaakov sel Adonai tzvar asher dama te'achbach Adonai Hashem melech yaneinu v'yom koreinu Asher yam shekach lo Asher yam shadonai Eloha v'ni b'chastecha v'tachti ageli b'yeshuatecha Ashira l'Adonai ki gamal alai Lama natzeach mizmor l'David Asher may misabim kevodel. Yilaratson imrefi begon libi lefanech Adonai tzuri bego ali l'dabi b'shanato tamolid nevi melech v'garshay v'yelacha baracha Adonai b'choleit tamid tilato b'fi Adonai tilanashim. Timotet rasha ra'a v'sonei tzadik yeshamu poder Adonai nefesh avadav Lo yashmu kol achosim bo tefila l'Moshe ish Elohim Adonai ma'on atayit elam v'dor v'dor v'terem harim uladu v'techol eretz v'tevel. Yira'el v'adecha po'alecha v'adarcha al pneihem v'hinom Adonai Eloheinu aleinu masei yedenu kodonai aleinu masei yedenu kodonehu yoshe v'seiter elyon B'tzel Shaddai Yilona Nomar L'Adonai Machzim Etuah. Yikra'eni v'yanehu emonochi B'tzarach Chatzer v'yachabdeyu Orach mimas b'yehu B'yeshuati Orach mimas b'yehu V'yareyu b'yeshuati Aluya Alu Hashem Adonai Lo Adei Adonai Sha'omni b'beitana v'chatzot b'et Eloheinu. Beit Yisrael Baruch Hu et Adonai, Beit Aaron Baruch Hu et Adonai, Beit HaLevi Baruch Hu et Adonai, Yirei Adonai Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Adonai Mitzion, Shochein Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Please rise 132, 92, or 72. Hodu l'Adonai, Ki tov, Ki le'olam. נותן לך לוחו בשר, כלם חסתו, הודו לאל שמיים כי לעולם חסתו. רעננו צדיקים באדוני, אלי שנאווה תהילה. I may be seated on נפשנו חיכתה לאדוני עזרנו מגיננו כי בו ישמח ליבנו כי בשם קודשו בטחנו ייחסת חדנה אלינו כאשר ייחלנו לך מזמור שיר ליום השבת מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך ישבר לו ידע עשי לו דין עוד ירבון בסיבה דשני מרנים יהיו להגיד קשר אדוני צורי ולא עבלת בו אדוני מלאך יהיו לבש לי עוזי תזר אך תיקון תבל תימון נכון כי זכה מאז מימתה עדותיך נאמנו מאוד לביתך נא בקודש אדוני לאורך ימים אדוני לאורך ימים יכלו אדוני לא מסלח עלי מסלח ברוך ומכפר עוון ולא ישחית וירבה להשיבה פה לכל חמתו אדוני הושיע מלך יעננו ביום קוראנו אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד יעלו חסל אשר תקפלו תהילה אדוני דבר פי ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד אנחנו נברכיה יתהווה לעולם הללויה הללויה לנפשי את אדוני הלאה בחיי אז אמרו אלוהי בידי אל תפתחו בנדים ואדם שאין לו תשועות אדוני שומר את גרים יתום ימנה יודעת בדרך ושעים יבית ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי יציל לדור בדור הללויה הללויה כי טוב זמר אלוהינו כי נאמין נבחתי לבני שלום ונכנו מונה מספר לכוכבים לכולם שמות יקרא שבחי ירושלים את אדוני אלוהי מגיב לרב ליעקב חוקיו משפטיו לישראל לא עשה כן לכל גוי משפטים בידיים הללויה הללויה הללו אדוני מן השמיים עלו במרומים על כל העולם וירם קרן להמות הלל כל חסידיו לפני ישועם קרובו הללויה הללויה שירו אדוני שיר חדש טוב לכל חסידים ישמח סוסיו בני ציון יגילו ומלכן יעלו בשלום לאסור מלכיהם וזיקים ונכבדיהם וחבלי ברזל לעשות במשפט כתוב הדר הוא לכל חסידיו הללויה הללויה הלו בקודשו הלו ברקיע וזו הלו בקודשו קרוב לו הלו בתקשו הלו בצלצלי שמה הלו בצלצלי תרועה כל הנשמת הללויה כל הנשמת הללויה הללויה ברוך אדוני לעולם אמן ימי ברוך אדוני בציון שוכן שלום הללויה ברוך אדוני וברוך שם כבודו לעולם ומלך כבודו כל הארץ amen ואמן please rise top of 142 ויברך דוד את אדוני יושב יקבל מלפניך אתה הוא אדוני האלוהים אשר בחרת באברהם ויוצא תומר כסדים ושמת שמו אברהם ומצאת לבבו נאמן לפניך וחרות עמו הבלעדית אדר זקנני אחיתם וים בקעת לבניהם ועברו בתוך הים ביבשה וידרות וים השלכת ומצולות כמו אבן במים עזים ויושר נא ביום ההוא את אשר מצרים וירא ישראל מצרים עד שפת הים וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשתה אדוני במצרים ויראו העם את אדוני ויאמינו באדוני ומשה עבדו אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזו אדוני ויאמרו להשם Adonai Mloch Leolam Ba'ed, Adonai Mloch Leolam Ba'ed, Kil Adonai Mlocha Moshe Ba'goyim, Ba'alu Moshim Bi'artzil Lishpot Et Ha'reisav, V'hayta Adonai Mlocha V'yadonai Lamelech HaKol Ha'aretz, Ba'yom Ahu, Hi Adonai Echad, U'Shemo Echad. Nishmat, page 145, 104, or 334. Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu V'varech et shemcha Ad heina azaruni rachamecha v'lazaruni chasadecha al techecha V'chol Hashem lecha kishecha v'chol b'rach lecha tisha v'chol kom lecha v'chol avavot yerucha Mihin melach u'mi yishvelach u'mi aroch lach Hayal HaGadol HaGibor v'yanora Elayon koneh shamayim v'aretz Nelchan shabechacha U'nefa'er chanarech et shem kodshecha kamor l'David Baruch nafshi d'Adonai B'chol kravai et shem kodsho ha'el b'tatzuma duzecha HaGadol b'chvod shemecha HaGibor l'natav v'yanora b'norotecha HaMelech HaYoshev al kisei ram v'nisa. Shachri begins second paragraph 147, or if you're following from home in a different Siddur, 105 in the Slim Shalom, 336 in the Sim Shalom.
Shochin had marab mikadosh shema.
Shochinad maro mekadosh shemo b'chatur.
Mekadur nutzarikim Adonai l'sharim navarti b'abefi sharim titala u'tivrei tzadikim titbarach u'virshom chasim titrama u'kerev kadoshim titkadash
U'makalot v'vevot amcha b'et Yisrael
Rinait ba'ar shulcha b'kenu echod avador shekein chovat kol yitzrim lefanach Adonai Eloheinu v'lo yevoteinu leodot le'leshvayah Lefayet Rum la de Varek the Leo Collins, I'll call Division of the Tish Mechat, Tavit Ben Shai, at a Kamishicha.
Please rise, Yishtabah Shimcha.
Brachot ve'hodot metafir olam baruch atah Adonai El melech gadol v'tishbachat El haodot Adonai niflaot Haocher v'shirei zimra Melech elchei olamim Yitkatav yikatav shemei rabbah Yomad yivrach yirtev yimlich malchuti V'chei chod v'mechon v'chei rechol beit Yisrael V'galav yizman kariv imru
Amen. Yehi shemer b'mvorach Le'lam hayayit barach
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yishbar v'yishma b'nasei Yitadar v'yitalevi yithalal Shemei dekud v'shavir
Berichu
Lila mincha birkata v'shirata Tishbachata v'nechemata Tamira me'alma v'yimeru
Amen. We're about to say the Baruch Hu on 149, after which we may be seated through the brachot of the Shema until we rise for the quiet Amidah on 159.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach
Baruch Adonai Morach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Yosef V'Shavsei Shavavit Hakol Yiducha V'Kol Yishabechucha V'Mirum Hein Kadosh Adonai Tshuva Mechadesh V'Yom Tov V'Nespuration Ein kirkach Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazavi Zulatecha malkin l'chayei olam haba Efes miltecha gwalilu l'vot HaMashiach V'inta melecha HaMashiachenu L'tchiyat hametim El Adonai kol hamaksim Baruch u'borach b'fi kol neshama Kolo v'tuvo Malei olam nedad utmuna hasovavimoto Hamitkarei achayot hakodesh Nidar bechavod al merchava Zechut umishor lifnei chiso Chesed v'rachamim lifnei chavodo Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu yitzara medad V'dino v'askel Koach u'gvura natan b'hem Liot moshlim v'gereb tevel Meleim zim u'fikim nogad na'ezimam B'chol ha'olam Semechim b'tzetam V'sasim b'boam Osim b'eim ha'retzon konam V'yer b'chavot Notanim lishmo Tol averina L'zecher malchuto Karav l'shemesh V'yizrachor Rav l'hit Kitzurat ha'levana Sheba Notanim go Kol tzeva marom Tiferet to Gedula Serafim Me'ofanim V'chayot HaKodesh Leil Asher Shabbat Mikol HaMasim V'yom Shvi Yisalav Yeshua Kisei Chodo Tibarak Mushinot Shavach Masei Hadecha Vil Meorei Hor Shesi Seifa Rucha Sala Tibarak Suna Mokan Uvalinu Barei Kedoshim Kulam Ahuvim, Kulam Erurim, Kulam Kippurim V'kulam Osimim Avirah Ritzon Konam V'kulam Botechim Et B'yam Et Toshav Torah V'shirav Zimram Barachim Shabechim Umvarim Umaritzim Umakdishim Umamlichim Et Shemahem HaMelech HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah HaKadoshu וכולם מקבלים עליהם המלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לעשות הקדישה תורה מנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים בהירה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא פריס כבודו ואופנים וחיות הקודש ורש גדול מן הסים למצרפים לימתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו Baruch atah shotzi Tayim v'niskech kulani meira horo. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot.
Amen.
Avaravav tanu Adonai Eloheinu chamla kitolach kitoracham ataleinu v'inu malkeinu v'avor avotenu. Shvat kavod. V'kiratanu l'shimcha hagadol sama b'emet l'udol l'chol yirchetcha b'yachava. Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'yamo Yisrael b'yahava. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Yetziv v'nachon l'kayam v'shalom anu v'chaviv l'chol.
Lidor v'tor kayam u'shmo kayam v'chizon akom makot v'emunato la'ad kayam v'rachim v'mim v'levanim v'nekvatim la'ad v'me'olamim al v'tayim v'le'olamim Emet shata Adonai Elohim v'lefoteinu malkeinu melech avoteinu kolinu v'levoteinu yitzarinu tzor yeshuateinu kodinu matzilim elam shemecha in Elohim zulatecha Ezrat avoteinu ata u'me'olam Tehillah le'elam
Baruch Hu
u'mevorach Moshe u'bnei Yisrael v'chanu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru kulam v'chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh nora tehiloto sefer shira chadasha shirchu gerulim le'shimcha sefat hayam yachad kulam hodu ve'imlivu ve'amru Adonai imlach le'olam va'ed Yinenai Tzur Yisrael Kuma b'ezrat Yisrael Uvtechenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Atah Adonai Kahal
you're still davening, please continue at your own pace. We begin the repetition, the Amidah, on page 159. Remain standing through the Kedusha on 161.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Eloi Avoteinu, Eloi Avraham, Eloi Yitzchak, Eloi Yaakov, Eloi Isaac, Eloi Rivka, Eloi Rachel, Eloi Leah, Hayel HaGadol Gevurah Norah El Elyon, Kom El Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei HaPot, V'Yigu Alev Nevnei Ha, L'man Shemo B'Yahava, L'Chozer U'Fokei Moshiach U'Makein, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, U'Fokei Tzorah, Atah Givor L'Olam Adonai V'Chilitim Atah, Rav Le'Oshiha, Mashiv Aruha, U'Morida Hashem, Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Nochlim B'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Michamocha B'Gevurot, U'Midon Melach, Melech V'Mid U'Mekayem, U'Matzmiach Yeshua B'Nimon, Atah L'Chayot Mitim, Baruch atah Adonai, L'Chayei HaMeitim, Nikadesh Shemcha Ba'olam Kishim, Shemati Shemot V'Yishmei Marom, Kakatul Yanuyecha V'Karasem Seif Yamar,
Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Tzavot,
Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Tzevot, Lo Laritz Kevodo. Asfikarash Gadol Adir V'Chazak Mashmiim Kol Minaseim Nimatzrafim Leumatam Baruch Yomeru
Baruch Adonai,
Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimekomo Balkinu Tafiha, Fatim Lokalinu Himakim, Anakula, Mataitim Lapatia Makarab, Yamil Lamatishko, Tit Kata, the Tikadash, but of Yerushalayim Yirikha, the Torvatar, Netzach Netzachim, the Heinu, Tirena, Marikute. Hallelujah, Lidor Vador Naki Godlecha, Ulnetzach Netzachim, Kidusharecha, Nakdish, Veshiv Chachal, Winamipino Loyam, Mushnelam Vahed, Kihem Melech Gadol, Vekadosh Ata, Baruch Ata, Adonai, Ha'el HaKadol.
may be seated.
Yismach Moshe b'matanat chavko, Yevid Nehman karatalo, Kiliti fer b'rosh hatata, V'yom tu lefanecha al har Sinai, U'shni luchot avanim, Horit b'yado, V'chatu b'hem shmirat Shabbat, V'chein katu b'tor v'techa, V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dor t'amerit, Olameni, U'b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, Yishish Shemilas Adonai Tashamayim, Yitzarit, U'vayom Hashvi Shabbat v'yinafa Shalom. Yitzatot Adonai Leinu L'Geyaratzot, V'nchato Malkinu L'Vtev, Sinim V'kam L'Chato, V'shkinu Erithin, Gilei Yisrael Machanet Ato Yava, L'Zirei Yaakov Asher Bam HaKarta, V'kadeshi Sheli, Kulam Yispehu, V'yitaniku V'yituvecha, V'yashvir Hatzitapo V'kidasho, Chemdat Yamim Otogorota, Zecher L'Masei V'Reishim, Elohei Avotenu Ritzei V'Mnuchatenu Kadeshenu V'Mitzvotecha V'Teinechakeinu V'Toratecha Samehenu V'Tuvecha V'Samechenu V'Shuatecha V'Taher Libeinu Liyahutecha V'Emet Yalchileinu Adonai Eloheinu Yehovah Ritzon Shabbat Kodshecha V'Nuhu V'Yisrael L'Kadeshei Shemecha Baruch Atah Adonai V'Kadesh HaShabbat Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Melech Yisrael V'Tfilatam V'Shabbat Avodah D'Fir V'Techa Tfilatam V'Avat Kabel Ratzon V'Tzin Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael HaMecha V'Techa Zeinainu B'Shavcha L'Ziyom Merachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Amachazir Shechinata Le'Tzion Motim Anachnu Lach Atokilo Chalurakamecha Barachem Kilatab Chasanecha Me'olam Kivinu Lach V'Yogulam Yitvarach V'Shon Shulchan Lakinu Tamid Le'olam V'Em V'Chol HaChayim V'Duchasela Hillelu Shimcha V'Metal Yishoteinu V'Soteinu Sela Baruch Atah Adonai Atov Shimcha Uchadai V'Chodot Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Baruch Baracham Shuleshet Batorah Ketuvah Yedei Moshe Avtecha Hamurami V'Aaron V'Nav Kohanim Am Kedushecha Kamur Yivarecha Adonai V'Yishmerecha Yaher Adonai B'Navilecha V'Chunecha Yisa Adonai B'Navilecha V'Yiseim Lecha Shalom Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen V'Chesed V'Rachamim Aleinu V'Yachol Yisrael Amecha Barcheinu Avinu Kulanu Kechad Kulanu Kechad V'Yor Panecha V'Yor Panecha Natata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torat Chaim Ve'avat Chesed U'tzedaka U'bracha Ve'rachamim
V'chaim V'shalom V'toveinecha Levarech et Amcha Levarech
et Amecha Yisrael
B'chol Edu B'chol Shah Mishlomecha
Baruch Atah Adonai Amarech et Amo Yisrael V'Shalom
Amen. Kaddish Shalem.
Yikara v'ikara shmei rabba Yamma tivrach yirtevim lich malchuti V'chei chonu v'mechonu v'ei l'chol beit Yisrael V'agalav yizman karivi meru
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Leomei Omaya Yitbarach
Yibarach Yishtabach Yibar V'Shemam V'Tnasei V'Yitadar V'Yitzal V'Yitzal Shmei Dekutsha
B'richu.
Min kol birkata v'shirata Shushchata v'nekmata d'miram yom avim meru
Amen.
Tikapot Zalat Tehonut Anechol Yisrael Ketavoni Yishmei v'Meru Amen Yishlamar Rabba V'Shemaya V'chayim Alinu V'Yelku Yisrael v'Meru Amen Osei Shalom V'Mromav Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yelku Yisrael v'Meru
Amen. We call Noah to the beam as we begin the Torah service, page 168 in the Lev Shalem, 139 Slim Shalom, 394 Sim Shalom. Please rise.
Ein kemocha ba'alim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha.
Malchutecha, Malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor b'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai levad batachnu melech el ram benisa adon olami.
Vahi bin Saran, Vayomer Moshe,
Kuma Adonai ve'afutzu oivecha ve'yanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzei Torah ki mitzion tetzei Torah udevar Adonai miYerushalayim baruch shenatan Torah Torah baruch shenatan Torah Torah le'amo Yisrael b'dusha dovri shemei d'Marayim.
Baruch Shmei Ma'alma.
Anna avda lekodesh abrichu zesagina kameu.
Be'anarachis,
Velish me kadisha kadisha yakira anay martu shechan be'anarachis Velish me kadisha kadisha yakira anay martu shechan Yehi Rava Kodamach V'nivda libi v'yoraita v'tashli mishalin delibi v'liba dechol amach Yisrael l'tavu chayin v'lishlam
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gelo Adonai, Gelo Shemo. Galu Adonai, Roma Shemo Yachlo.
Lecha Adonai
Behanetzach v'hahod Hivo b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Hivo b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Adonai הממלכה וימים מעשה לכל ראש רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו לאדון רגליו קדוש הוא רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You may be seated. We're going to begin the Torah service for Parshat Tzav, page 613 in the Eitz Chaim Chumash. If you're following from home from a different Chumash, open up to Vaakil Leviticus chapter 6, and that's where it begins. Biazor, Begim Shalach Chosim, Bogan Amar Amen. Hakol Havu Go Yeloheinu Nuchavod La Torah. Yahamdu Shmuel ben Ezra V'Yael B'Tilan ben Maurice V'Esther L'Gai Rishona Baruch Shnatan Torah L'Mos Medushato Batem Bad Bekin Loechem Chaim Kolchem Ayom.
Thank you.
Just you.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך גם מבורך לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
ובעיני משה לאמור צער ופנה לאמור זאת תורה כי הלה מוקדם מזבח כל לילה בבוקר ושמזבח תגר פה ובשקרים מדובר ומכסה בת יבש על בשרו והרים אל הדשן אשר תאכל האש את העולה על המזבח ושמו עץ על המזבח.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Yochanan v'Shoshana v'Eliyahu ben Yechezkel v'Tzipora l'Yashniya.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
ופשט עבדיו ולבש בגדים אחרים והוציא את הדשן על מחוץ למחנה על מקום טהור ויש המזבח תגר בו לא תכפה וביער עליה הכהן עצים בבוקר וערך עליה עולה ותיר עליה חלבי השמים אש תמיד תגר מזבח לא תכפה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Harel ben Gedaliah Kohen Le'ashlishi, page 614, verse 7.
Hold on 1 second. Take your seat, see? And Mark will show you what it did.
Here, Mike.
It's right after the break was up. Yeah. And now.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach. Baruch Adonai Hambarach L'Olam Va'ed. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torto. Baruch et Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. וזאת תורת המנחה קרבת בני אהרון לבני אדוני אל בני המזבח והרים ממנו בקומצו מסולת המנחה ומשמנה ואת כל הלבנה אשר על המנחה והקטיר המזבח ריח ניחוח אזכרתה לאדוני ונותרת ממנה יאכלו אהרון ובניו מצות יאכל במקום קדוש בחצר המועד יאכלוה לא תהפך מעץ חלקם נתתי אותם ישי קודש קודשים היא כחטאת וכאשם כל זכר בבני אהרון יאכלנה כקולם לדורותיכם אישי אדוני כל אשר ייגע בהם ייטש.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Shlomo ben Shlomo Leah Revi'i, page 615, verse 12.
Baruch Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor Aaron v'anav asher yakrivu l'Adonai b'yomim hashachata asirita efaso let minchat tamid machatzita b'boker u'machatzita ba'arev al machavat v'shemen te'aseh murbechet v'yena tufireh minchat pitim takriv reach nichol l'Adonai והכהן המשיח תקע מבניו יעשה אותה חוק עולם לאדוני כליל תוכתר וכל מנחת כהן כליל תהיה לא תאחר.
ברוך אתה אדוני מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו את תורת אמת וחי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Tamar bat Gabriel Eliyahu, Vitzvi Hirsch ben Yanko 5 Bavachana Leah Eliyahu Chamishit. Before we do the fifth Aliyah, we're going to cover the Torah and pause and say Mishaber for Cholim. If there's a name you'd like inserted in the fourth Aliyah, we're going to pause and say Mishaber for Cholim. If you have someone inserted insert it into the bracha, you can say the name out loud after I pause. Mishaberach Avatenu Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov Bimotenu Sarivka Rachel v'Leah Vivarech v'Rapeh Kol Hacholim v'Kol Hacholim v'Kilak Tosha Hazod Hazav v'Yafa Bat Esther v'Rivka Bat Pesha v'Yosef v'Nachamenu Ben Gittel v'Bentu Ben Gittel v'Tzir Chana Bat Sid v'Yehuda Yisrael Ben Leah v'Mordechai Ben Esther v'Dani Ben Yemin B'Tov Ben Arid v'Taibel Bat Rachel Leah v'Yeshua Ben Shendel v'Amir Ben Miriam V'et Chana bat Lima, v'et Peter Pal, v'et Rezel bat Rachel, v'et Shifra bat Malka, v'et Esther bat Liba, v'et David ben Malka, v'et Lior bat Abigail, v'et Amidi Cheska ben Anad, v'et Cyril bat Sarah, v'et Taiba Rezel bat Chaya, v'et Shona Tova bat Chana, v'et Michael ben Yehudit, v'et Masha bat Chana Rachel, v'et Alexandra Rachel bat Shoshana, v'et Moshe ben Shmuel, v'et Moshe Baruch Shmaya ben Shena Rachel, v'et Yafa bat Shendel, v'et Kamala bat Yehudit, v'et Rivka bat Rachama, v'et Hachazan Adiva bat Chanu Shlomo, v'et Yitzchak ben Berta, v'et Harav Dvorah Masha bat Eter Rezel, v'et Louis Skelton, v'et Esther bat Chana, v'et El Tzipora bat Yehudit Dina, v'et David Abraha bat Udel, v'et
Artson, Romina bat Shoshana, Ephraim ben Chacham.
וכל החולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, מלא רחמים עליהם להחזיקם לרפא אותם, ישלח להם מרפואה שלמה מלשמיים רפואת הנפש רפואת הגוף ואת שאר החולים, וחזק את העסקים את צורכיהם, שבתים לזוג רפואה קרובה לבוא, השתא בגלל בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. We wish a full and speedy recovery to everybody who we prayed for, who we were thinking of in that bracha. We continue with the fifth aliyah, page 616. Verse 17.
Oh, sorry. He could just take a Where the diabs.
It's okay.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorach.
Baruch
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber l'Aaron ve'lbanav lemor. Zot Torah tachatad bimkom asher tishachet ha'olam tishachet ha'chatad livnei Adonai kodesh kodashim hi hakohen hamechata ota yochalena b'makom kadosh tiachad b'chatzor al moed kol asher yigav b'sara yikdash ואשר יזה מדם על הבגד, אשר יזה עליה תכבס במקום קדוש. וכלי חרס אשר תבושל בו יישבר, ומכלי נחושת בושלה, ומורה ושותף במים. כל זכר בגוונים יאכל אותה, קודש קודשים היא, וכל חטאת, אשר יובא מדמה, אלו אל מועד לכפר בקודש לא תאכל, באש תשרף.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ya'amdu Ariela bat Yaakov v'Michal v'yed Maya bat Yaakov v'Michal Aliyah HaShishit 6 Aliyah, which Noah will be reading, page 616, bottom of the page, chapter 7, verse 1.
At the top of the column.
Baruch Hu Adonai Barach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'zot Torah Hashem koshkashim hu bimkom asher chatu et ha'olah shchatu et Hashem v'tamo shagam mizbeach saviv v'kol chabo yakriv menu eight halya v'tachelev ha'nachaset ha'kerev v'eight shtei ha'chayel v'tachelev asher lehen asher ha'keselim v'totir ha'chaved ha'chayel yisirena v'tir otam ha'kohen mizbecha isher lanai asham hu kol zachar b'konim yachanu במקום קדוש אחר, קודשים הוא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת בחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Michal bat Gabriel v'Eliyahu v'Yaakov ben Ziva v'Chaim L'Yah HaShvi'it, page 617, verse 7.
בחרו את אדוני ברוך. ברוך אדוני ברוך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
ככה תקע שם תורה אחת להם הכהן אשר כבן בו לא יהיה והכהן הקריב את עולת איש או הלה אשר הקריב לכהן לא יהיה וכל מנחה אשר תפה בתנור וכל נעשה מרחי שבע מחבה לכהן המקריב אותה לא תהיה וכל מנחה ועלולה בשמן וחרבה לכל בני אהרון תהיה איש כחיב.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
You can leave the yard sitting there.
Talmud.
Please rise for Chati Kaddish. Yitkata v'yitkata shmirapa. Yamati v'akiritivim liv malchuti. V'chayichonu yomeichonu chayim. Kol beit Yisrael. Bargala, bargala. Ubizman kari. Shabbat v'bar v'shamab v'yitnasei v'tatar v'talei v'talal shemei v'kudishah v'li lamin kol berkata v'shirata
May be seated. Before Noah takes her aliyah to the Torah, she's going to receive blessings from her parents. First, a blessing from our tradition that pushes Noah, along with B'nai Mitzvah throughout the generations, towards Jewish adulthood, to take responsibility for her presence before God and before Torah, and then a blessing that Kobe and Michal have composed for you, Noah, for this very special occasion.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shepatani me'osha shel zot.
Amen.
Together,
Yechi ratzon milfanecha, our God and God of our ancestors. Noah, on this day of your bat mitzvah, surrounded by your family, friends, and community, all filled with tremendous joy and pride, we offer our blessing for you.
May you have the ability to make your own hopes and dreams come true.
May you always remember this special day and cherish the memory of your ancestors who made it possible for you to stand here, especially those like my grandparents, John and Ursula, who traveled great distances and endured great hardship to preserve their family's heritage. They are here, they are watching, and know it was worth it.
Yes. May your study of the Torah strengthen your connections of Jewish observance and values, now and for generations to come.
May your quiet inner strength, and let's get real, serious real strength, lead you to a life where you make good decisions, and may you not be just smart, but also wise.
May your kindness, loyalty, and affection, and infectious laugh lead you to life filled with love, friends, and family.
May your intelligence and perseverance lead you to a career that you are passionate about and gives you an extra bit of meaning.
Yes. May all you do bring
you great personal happiness and fulfillment. We love you. Mazel tov.
Amen.
Good job.
Now Noah will take her aliyah to the Torah. You can follow along on page 616, verse 7. 617, verse 7.
Touch where you're about to start. And then grab one of these in each hand. Put the yad down for a second. And then
Vaakil elam barach.
Baruch Hashem barach le'olam vayed.
Baruch Hashem barach le'olam vayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'chataka sham Torah achat lahem hakohen echver bo lo yeh והכהן המקריב את עולת איש, או הלה אשר הקריב, להכהן לא יהיה בכל מנחה, אשר תפה בתנור וכל נעשה, ומרחה שווה מחווה, לכהן המקריב אותה לא תהיה בכל מנחה, ולולה בשמן וחרבה, לכל בני אהרון תהיה איש כאחיו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורה אמת וחיי עולם נתן לכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yamdu Amagbiya Bahagolele. Please rise.
This is you.
Nishibirach Avoteinu Avram Yitzchak Yaakov Nishibirach Imotenu Zerari Karachah V'Laiha V'Marech Et Noah Vatmicha V'Yaakov Shigil Mitzvot V'Elta Lichbod Makom V'Lichbod HaTorah V'Lichbod HaShabbat Yehi Ratzon Yehi Ratzon Yehi Ratzon ויכוננת ליבה לחיות שלמה עם אדוני אלוהיה, להגות בתורתו, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיה. יהי רצון שיזכו הוריך לגדלה לתורה ולחופה ולמעשים טובים, ותמצאכם בשכל טוב בין אלוהים והאדם,
ונאמר אמן. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ועל משה. צדיקים ומחזיקים בה בטוב ואמן שערי צדיקים ומחזיקים בה בטוב ואמן שער דרך דרכנו בכל נתיבותיה שלום דרך דרכנו בכל נתיבותיה שלום
In just a moment, as soon as the Torah is placed on the holder, after that you may be seated. And then Noah is going to share her Dvar Torah with us, to share what she has studied from Parshat Tzav and how it applies to her life and our life. You may be seated. And then after that, we'll go into the special Haftarah for Shabbat Hagadol. Stand straight.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Okay, I'm not going to lie to everyone. This parsha is not the most exciting. It really just lays out the rules for Aaron and his sons who are the Kohanim. The rules cover what clothes to wear, what the Kohanim can eat, and rules about the offerings. However, out of these, the rule that stood out to me the most was Ish Tamid Tukad Al Mizbeach Lo Tichbeh. This roughly translates to a perpetual fire shall be kept burning on the altar, not to go out. This is a tough job. It takes dedication and many sleepless nights to keep the fire going. This made me wonder, why do it? Why dedicate your life and your future kids' lives to this grueling job? Well, to answer these questions, I first need to talk about why Aaron was chosen instead of Moshe. Several rabbis believe that it was because of Aaron's lack of hesitation when God came to him, unlike Moshe. This wasn't just a job for him. This was what he loved and was passionate about. It was never a question of whether or not he would say yes. He was dedicated from the start, from the moment God first reached out to him. To do what God asked him gave an extra bit of meaning to his life. So, what's the point of all this? I think it means that it's important to find something in life that you love to dedicate yourself to it, whether it's a career, dream, health, faith, or social justice. For me, that is sports. Right from the get-go, my parents put me into soccer and gymnastics. I like to say that I played soccer, but I loved gymnastics. Up until a few months ago, I was dedicating all but one day of the week between the two, like an athletic Shabbat. Finally, with the support of my sideline coach, my dad, I decided to stop focusing on soccer and put all my energy into gymnastics. This meant putting my mind and body through 16 hours a week of gymnastics. This might seem like a hard decision, but just like Aaron, I was dedicated from the start. I may have no time to see my friends, but getting to focus on gymnastics full-time was going to provide an extra bit of meaning to my life. Tzav is all about the rules of sacrifices, and you have to make sacrifices when pursuing your dreams. To illustrate my dedication, let me bring you back to a few weeks ago. I was at an event with my family and was excited to go to gymnastics practice. Then, my parents told me the devastating news. We weren't leaving yet, and that I was going to have to miss the first hour of practice. I immediately began to feel tears welling up in my eyes. I was going to miss the best hour of practice. It was floor, for goodness sakes. How could they? Most of my family would tell you that I'm pretty easygoing. My friends may not. But compared to my eccentric family, I'm incredibly low maintenance. However, I think this was the first instance my parents did not get that from me. I could tell from the surprise on their face, from seeing my pout welled up eyes, that they knew I was serious. Maybe it was childish, but I stayed like that until we left. My dedication and love for gymnastics knows no bounds. Even during summer of 2020, when me and my family went on an RV trip for a month, I still continued to do gymnastics over Zoom. And we even strapped a gymnastics mat to the back of the RV. Now, back to the Parsha. Something else I noticed was that the Parsha states multiple times that the fire on the altar shall not go out. I wondered, why would the Parsha do that? Well, Rashi seems to think there's a hidden meaning. He believes that it is written twice because anyone who puts out the fire will have committed two sins. Now, I'm going to take this one step farther. I think by putting out the fire on top of the altar, you will also put out the fire in Aaron's heart. Aaron was dedicated his life and soul to serving God. It was his passion. I think to stop someone from pursuing what they are passionate about is like putting out their fire. So, why am I telling you all of this? I can relate to focusing on a specific goal, dedicating my life to something I'm passionate about. Going from a bunch of sports to selling on one means a different kind of responsibility. Just like becoming a bat mitzvah comes with a new set of responsibilities, both of which I feel ready for. No matter the setbacks, like an injury, I'm ready to throw myself into something I love and am dedicated to. Like Aaron, in a sense, I am choosing this journey, not because I was told to, but because it gives me pleasure to. The rush from doing a front pull into the foam pit, I can show you that later, and the joy from landing it cannot be replaced for me. While Aaron and I were asked to make important decisions, the answer was still easy. Growing up is about finding yourself and making big decisions with big responsibilities. I am all in on dedicating myself to what I am passionate about, and growing just like Aaron was with keeping the fire alive. Now, my Oscar moment. I'd like to thank the Academy, and by Academy, I mean thank you, Ima. Abba may be the loudest, but I know you've always been my biggest fan. You do so much for me, and I want you to know the little things you do not go unnoticed. Thank you, Abba, for always having my back and teaching me to always give everything, my 100%. I'm a better athlete and person because of it. You make the best breakfast. Thank you to my sisters, Maya and Ariella. While we both decided to live nowhere near home for no reason, college and your job don't count, I know that I can count on you both. I am lucky to be so close to sisters that live so far away. A very big thank you to my Saba, who dedicated his time to teach me my Haftorah. Your teaching skills are as wonderful as your singing. And for those who don't know, that's very good. And thank you to Safta for making Saba come teach me. And always listening to my crazy stories, even when I mumble. Of course, thank you Robert Flug for teaching me my Torah portion, Rabbi Kenner Chorney for helping me learn the prayers, and Rabbi Klickfeld for helping me with my speech. Without you three, this special moment in my life would be more stressful than special. Of course, thank you to all my friends and family for coming out and supporting me today. And finally to all, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good.
Shakoach to Noah. You can open up the Chumash to page 1295 for the special Haftarah for Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat before Pesach. We're going to ask, as there is always a wonderful and growing excitement at the end of the Haftarah, when sweetness is going to come, we're going to ask everyone to remain in their seats until that moment. And if you have young children around who are having a hard time waiting, we're encouraging you to help them wait so that Noah can finish the entire Haftarah before that moment of great sweetness. Page 1295. 1295. $12.95.
All right. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'yamim tovim ve'eretz b'yinahem harim b'emet. Baruch Adonai habocher b'Torah Moshe avdo Yisrael amo u'mivia hamet b'aseret.
Amen.
Rabba Adonai Micha Yehuda v'Yerushalayim ki me'olam u'cheshanim kalmaniyot. V'karati elechem b'mishpat v'yitzi et memher memachashvim u'mna'afim u'banishpaim l'shaket u'shakei sachir amana v'tom u'mteker v'lo yeruni amar na'etzvot ki ani Adonai lo shaniti v'betem b'nei Yaakov lo chitem למי אבותיכם שפתם מחוקי ולא שמרתם שובו אלי ושוב עליכם אמר אדוני צבאות ואמרתם מן השוב הגבר אדם אלוהים כי אתם קובעים אותי ואמרתם מכוונוך המעשה והתשומה במראה אתם נרים ותהיה אתם קובעים הגוי כולו הביאו את כל מעשה על בשר, וטרף בביתי ובחנוני, נא בזאת אמר אדוני צבאות, אם לא אבטח לכם את ארבעת השמיים, והריג אותי לכם ברכה על בלידייך, והראיתי לכם באוכל, ולא ישחט לכם את פרי אדמה, ולא תשקר לכם הגפן בשדה, אמר אדוני צבאות. וישבו אתכם כל גויים, כי תהיו אתם ארץ חפץ, אמר אדוני צבאות. חזקו עלי, תראכם אמר אדוני, אמרתם, מה נדברנו עליך? אמרתם, שב עבוד אלוהים, ומה בצע, כי שמרנו משמרתו, וכי הלכנו כדור אני מפני אדוני צבאות. ועתה אנחנו משמרים צדיקים, גם לבינו עושה רשע, גם אכלנו אלוהים ועמלתו. אז ידברו ירא אדוני איש אל רעהו, כוון וישב אדוני ושמע, וכתב ספר זיכרון לפניו לרע אדוני ולהכשווה שמו. ויהיו לי אמר אדוני מצוות ליום אשר אני עושה סגולה וכמלתי עליהם כאשר וכמו איש על בנו עובד אותו וישבתם וריתם בין צדיק לרשע בין עובד אלוהים לאשר לא עבדו כי הנה היום בא בוער כתנור והוא כל זדים כל זה רשע קש ולטותם היום בא אמר אדוני צבאות אשר לא יגזול להם שורש לעיניו ברכה לכם וראה שמי שמש צדקה ומרפא בכנפיה וצאתם ובלי שם כלי מרבק וצאתם רשם וכי העבר תחת כפות רגליכם ביום אשר אני עושה אמר אדוני צבאות זכרו תורת משה עבדי אשר ציוויתי אותו בכל כל ישראל חוקים ומשפטים הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליהו הנביא לפני בו יום אדוני הגדול והנורא ויקשב את לבבות אל בנים ולבנים אל אבותם פן אבוא וכתב את הארץ חרם הנה אנוכי שולח לכם והנה אנוכי שלח לכם את אליהו הנביא לפני בו יום אדוני הגדול והנורא. ברוך אתה אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל עמים צדיק בכל דורות על נאמן ורחמן אתה אמר ועשה המדבר עם חיים שכל דורות מפסק נאמר אתה אלוהינו ונאמנים בדרך אחד מרחק אחור לא ישב זר ישב וקם כי על מלך נאמר ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה נאמן בכל דורות אמן. אוקיי, מל ציון כי ביתנו ולוות נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו ברוך אתה אדוני משמח ציון מימייה אמן. אוקיי. שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו ולוות הנביא עבדך ומכל בית אבי משיחך ורע יבוא יוגע ליבנו על כי לא ישב זר ולא יקלו אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם כשרה נשבעת לו שלא יכבר נראה לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן דוד, ועל התורה, ועל העבודה, ועל הנביאים, ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת, על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, ואנחנו מודים לה, ברכים אותה, ירוק שמפה בפי כל חיץ לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
We continue in the Siddur, page 176. Noah, are you coming back? Page 176 in the Siddur for Yakum Porkan. It's okay. Let's go.
Yakum Porkan, Mi Shemaya.
Yakum Porkan, Mi Shemaya.
V'yishlach bebaraka
V'hatzlacha v'chol ma'aseh yedehem imko Yisrael achehem v'nomar amen. We rise and we say a prayer for our country, for the state of Israel, and for peace, beginning on page 177.
Are we ready?
Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials,
who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and freedom
among the many
peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen. A prayer for the state of Israel, page 178.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, שתהא ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה, ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר אמן.
A prayer for peace, responsibly 178.
May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
The nation will not threaten nation, the human family will not again know war.
For all who live on earth shall realize, we have not come into being to hate or to destroy, we have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion.
Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war.
Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say,
Amen. We are seated for Ashrei, page 181.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, u'jahalucha selah.
Ashrei am shekachalo, Ashrei am shenayelo.
Tehillat Adonai Yedaber Pi V'Yivarech B'Sar
Shem Koshol Elam Ba'ed V'Anachnu Nevarech.
Please rise. I'm going to call all three of the Vaakil children to come forward at this time, and also their parents to stand opposite them. We'll hand the Torah into Noah's arms, and we're going to do a very special ritual, which they began yesterday with a bit of art.
Okay.
In this auspicious moment, when the Vaakil family has brought their youngest child to Torah, we reflect with joy on the tremendous achievement that they have accomplished, bringing all their children to Torah and mitzvot. We call upon all of these Vaakil children to come forward at this time. Long ago, our forefather Yaakov, also known as Yisrael, knew that he was reaching the end of his life. He called out to his children, asking them to surround him and give him reassurance that the sacred connections he had fostered between the Holy, Blessed One and the people of Israel would extend beyond his own lifetime. According to ancient Midrash, Yisrael asked his children, "Is there any doubt in your hearts?" And they said to him, "Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, our Father, just as there is no division in your heart, so there is none in ours, but rather Adonai Eloheinu, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Hearing this, Jacob exclaimed, "Baruch Shem Kibod, blessed be the holy name, Machuto Leolam Va'ed, the glorious kingdom will be forever and ever." Just as these words served as reassurance many generations ago, we turn to them today as a text of affirmation. This Vaakil family has instilled the preciousness of Torah into the hearts of their children, and their children receive it with the promise to carry it in them, in their deeds, and in their characters. And so you say to your parents, Shema all together.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
And you respond, Baruch Shem. And as we place this mantle onto the Torah, the family has signed their names fully. They are the second family in our community to have signed their names onto this ritual object. It will remain on the mantle as all three of their children who have now come to Torah and mitzvot carry this Torah back around. Noah, please take it in your arms. We return the Torah to the ark. We're on page 183.
No, give it to Noah. Just give it to Noah.
Yahu Hashemanai Kiniska Shema Davada.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim.
Adonai al-Hamayim, el-Kavod Yirim, Adonai al-Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai V'Koach, Kol Adonai V'Hadar, Kol Adonai Shober HaRazim, V'Yishaber Adonai Yitzarzi al-Levanon, V'Yarkidim Kimo Ekel, Levanon v'Sirion, Kimo Ben Reinim, Kol Adonai Chotzev v'Hadotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yechol El Hayadot, V'Yichasov Ye'arot, ובחלום כולו מאיר כבוד. אדוני עמנו ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
ולכל העלמה,
שבת הלבבות בישראל.
עץ חיים היא למד הזיקיבה לטוב מחיה לאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם לאהוב נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו
May be seated. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I want to speak a little bit about how the Seder is the most inaccurately named ritual in our tradition. Because the word Seder means order, and if you really look at the Haggadah, it is entirely out of order. It's all mixed up. But before we get there, I want to tell you a quick story. I was talking to someone this week who told me a story. The story was this person was at a sporting event, and in the middle of the sporting event, there was an announcement that came through everybody's, phones and Instagrams that some major thing had been announced, major event that impacted people's feelings about the world and about one another. I'm not going to tell you what the event was. I'm not going to tell you if it was domestic. I'm not going to tell you if it was international. I'm not going to tell you the identities or the persuasions of any of the people involved in the story, but the person telling me the story said they looked at their phone and wanted to cheer and looked around at all the people near this person who were cheering at this news and then caught eyes with someone who is definitely not cheering. And they had an awkward moment where this person just assumed that every person around her would have the exact same reaction to significant news as she did. And she was incredulous that the other person was not mirroring her experience. And when this person told me the story, she was incredulous at my lack of incredulity. It seemed to me that when you live in a complicated world amongst many different people, there's no chance that even the simplest headline is going to land the exact same way on every person. This person walked into a sporting event under the assumption that everyone there, every person, would be a part of her own community of feeling the same way about important and big things. It just doesn't happen that way in the real world. Going back to the Seder, as I said before, it really is out of order. There's stuff at the end that no one knows why it's there. You can do lots of wonderful midrashim as to why Chad Gadya has anything to do with Pesach Seder. All of it is ex post facto. Who Knows One is a cute ditty. I loved leading it as a kid. I love leading it now. Its connection to the Exodus story, I'm not quite sure. There are elements of the Haggadah that are 2,000 years old and elements of the Haggadah that are 300 years old, and it seems like someone was very, very inebriated when they put this all together and called it in order. Perhaps the part of the Seder that is most oddly out of order and actually puts other things out of order is the section of the 4 children, the Arba Banim. Keneged Arba Banim Dibra Torah. The Haggadah exclaims confidently that the Torah spoke about 4 different types of children. Right? And you know the categories. The Chacham, the wise one, the Rasha, the evil, the wicked one, the Tam, the simple one, and She'eno Yidei Lishol, the one who does not know how to ask. You could get 10 doctorates in biblical text and not find those 4 children enumerated in our Torah. The Haggadah is not quite lying, but it's stretching. And it's basically manufacturing 4 archetypes of what a child could be, and picking and choosing verses entirely out of order, actually sometimes undoing and inverting the context in which those verses were chosen as a way of proving that the Torah has these 4 categories. And the one that's most out of order conceptually is the Rasha, the wicked one, the child who's supposed to be lambasted at the Seder and brought back into sense and brought back into the family. Why is it out of order? Because the verse that the Haggadah says clearly describes the Rasha is taken from the 12th chapter of the book of Shemot, the actual chapter from which Exodus is described, verse 26. And the Haggadah says, can you believe it? This Rasha asked the following horrific question to his parents or her parents. Ma ha'avodah hazot lachem. What is this act, this ritual to you? What a terrible question, is what the Haggadah says. In context, where that verse actually appears in the Torah, it's actually understood to be a sweet and wonderful and legitimate and curious question. The Torah imagines that eventually the Israelites will get to the land of Israel, start doing the Pesach Seder. Wouldn't be a Seder at the time. Start doing the Paschal offering, the Pesach offering, and the child will look at the parents doing a strange korban, a strange offering, and saying, what is this weird thing I'm looking at? And that's a good question, because it opens up the possibility for you to respond to the child. This is the story of our people's freedom. It gets twisted around by the Haggadah saying, what a terrible question that kid would ask. Why is it a good question? In context. The Ha'amek Davar, the rabbi known as the Netziv, Rabbi Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, who was a late 19th, early 20th century sage from Lithuania, says, it's a good question because most, if not all, of the sacrifices in our tradition accomplish something. You bring a sacrifice to cleanse yourself from sin. You bring a sacrifice to prepare for a particular holiday. You bring a sacrifice to say thank you to God. What is this sacrifice that seems to be related to no personal moment in your life? Why are we offering it? It's not accomplishing anything. And secondly, if you're telling me that the sacrifice is to commemorate the miracle of the firstborn, or the miracle of the tragedy of the Egyptian firstborns being killed, and therefore the Israelites going out as a result of that, the child might say, name me another miracle in the Torah, our response to which is offering a sacrifice. In other words, ma ha'avodah hazot lachem, what is this ritual to you? Is the child saying, I don't understand. This seems out of order. Explain it to me. We want our children to ask that question. We want to do things differently on Pesach, so the youngest amongst us will say, please explain to me what this means because I do not understand it. It is totally reworked and inverted by the Haggadah in order to create this archetype, this category of the Rasha, the evil child. It's done so intentionally that you have to believe that the rabbis were very, very keen in creating a category of a Rasha so that we could beware of them, so we could identify them in our family and our community, and we could try to build a society without so many Rishaim. What makes the Rasha so evil? There are 2 basic streams of thought in our tradition, one minor and one dominant. The minor one is offered by many people, including a sage called the Shibolei Haleket, Rabbi Tzidkiyahu ben Avraham in the 13th century who lived in Italy and in Germany. And he says, why is this Rasha evil? What do you have to be on the lookout for in your family and your community? Kafar ba'ikar. He negates everything. Why? Shelo hiskir Hashem b'inyan. he didn't even mention God. This created, invented Rasha is asking a question about a ritual, not even connecting to God. In other words, his wickedness, his evil is theological. He takes God out of the story. And what would the Jewish people be? And what would Judaism be without God in the story? That's a Rasha. Beware. That's the minor opinion in intellectual Jewish history. The dominant opinion, offered by a sage called the Ravan, Rabbi Eliezer ben Rabbi Natan of Mainz, Germany in the 12th century, and many others. What did he do wrong? What is so disastrous? What do we have to be on the lookout for? Shehotzi atzmo min hakol. That he removed himself from the category of other people around that table who might do things and see things a little differently than him. That is sinful. It's an invented sin by the rabbis. But that makes it more powerful, as if it was so important for the rabbis to be aware of this certain communal wickedness, not having the wrong opinion. It's not that he thought something differently about God, but not being willing to count himself amongst those who have different opinions than you. That makes you a Rasha. If you look around and you assume everyone is going to agree with you, and if they don't, you want to depart from that group, according to the Haggadah, that makes you a Rasha. Speaking of things that are wonderfully out of order, the thing that comes just before this section in the Haggadah is the story of the rabbis in Bnei Brak. You may read that section in your Haggadah. And what's significant about the section? The rabbis were hanging out in Bnei Brak near modern-day Tel Aviv and studying all night. Can you imagine even 2 rabbis, let alone 4 or 5 rabbis, studying for more than 10 minutes, not having a meaningful disagreement with each other? And can you imagine how short that study session would be if the disagreement stopped the conversation? If the disagreement meant that one rabbi was going to leave the room and said, I can no longer be counted among you. In fact, what happens just before the 4 children is the rabbis exemplifying the opposite of our understanding of the Shema, of the Rasha. Sit with people who have strong opinions, study the tradition all night, and then when the sun comes up, say Shema together. Not in your own individual minyan, not surrounded just by people who hold your opinions on things. Say the Shema together. That's the Jewish way. To sit around and debate and then pray together, even when you disagree. The Jewish way is to be like Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai, who disagreed vociferously one another, and then made sure that their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren married one another, because we needed both streams of ideas in our genetic and intellectual inheritance. I read a very painful article around Thanksgiving. Some of you may have come across it, that some statistical analysis was done, that the length of time that people were generally willing to sit or ended up sitting around the Thanksgiving table had to do with how far away they were driving from their own home and how different a voting pattern was in the city in which they ended up having the Thanksgiving meal. In other words, if where they were having Thanksgiving was a certain percentage difference in voting patterns in the last few elections, it was going to reduce the amount of time spent by the people at that Thanksgiving dinner by a similar percentage. But people who were having Thanksgiving dinners near themselves and in the same zip codes where voting patterns are similar, the dinners went on for a long time. It's a terrible indictment of this moment in American society, and I would say in Jewish society, where we have a hard time lingering or even believing there are other people at a sporting event, such as ours, who believe differently about important things. My favorite aspect of the energy of the Pesach Seder is that there's no winning, there's no losing, there's very little right, there's very little wrong. There's a lot of extended conversation together and claiming an identity of the Jewish people as a singular one. We have, as Jews, in our cultural DNA, the ability to be respectful in machloket, in disagreement. And I think we have an opportunity to show the world and remind ourselves that we can do this, that we can tolerate and even honor meaningful differences of theological positions and thus certainly political ones. We're at Shabbat HaGadol, and what makes this such a great and grand Shabbat? Technically, it's because of a word in the Haftarah that Noah read a few minutes ago. But conceptually, what makes us so grand? Because it's a few days before we're going to exemplify the greatest Jewish gift to the intellectual and spiritual world. And that is that differences can be honored and that polarization can be replaced with order, with seder. I'll drink 4 cups of wine to that, and maybe even more. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue with the Musaf service. We turn to page 184 in the Lev Shalem. If you're following from home in the other Siddurim, page 155 or page 428, please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitzkadash mirabah, yamadi v'archirutei, v'imlich v'achutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chaydecho beit Yisrael, v'galav yizman kariv, v'imru amen, yesh me'rabah mevorach, le'olam le'om le'omaya, yitbarach, v'yishabach, v'yitzbar v'yitzma v'yitznasei, v'yitzatar v'yitzalei v'yitzalav, shemei de'kudeshah, barichu,
Amen. We'll do the Amidah Nehecha Kedusha. Kenner Chorney will begin 185. We say the Kedusha responsibly 187. And then we go back and say the Amidah to ourselves in a quiet whisper.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elokei Avotenu Elokei Abraham Yitzchak Elokei Yaakov Elokei Sarah Elokei Mikal Elokei Rachel Elokei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor V'Nora El Elyon Yom HaChasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot U'Mevigu Elivnei V'nei Amnon Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer U'Fokeinu Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Fokeinu Sarah Atah for the love of Adonai V'Chei Atah Rav V'Hoshia Mashiva Ruha U'Morira Kashem Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim Tzomech Nolim Berofei Cholim U'Natir Asurim U'Mekayei Me'emunato Bli Shenei Afar Michabocha B'Kiburot U'Midom Elav Nelech U'Mechayei U'Matzliach Yeshua V'Niman Talachayot Mitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei Hamitim
Amen. Our mitzvah benagdish gadol zizar bekodesh madish shabbat kodesh yad miyeh.
Naharitzecha V'nagdishecha Kisotziha Sarvei Kodesh HaMakdishim Shimcha Bar Kodesh Kakatuv Yad Nevi'echa V'kares Seif Yamah
Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Yitzvah, V'l'Vlaras Kivodo.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh,
Sharta Sholim Zeh, Zayim Kol
Kivodo. Kivodo, Malei Olam, Misharitav Shoalim Zeh.
Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Udivrei kochachaka tu vemo.
Yem loch Adonai le'lam la'etzim la'dor b'dor. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Kadosh. Where is he? Mishni.
If you're still davening Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We continue with Kaddish Shalem on page 203.
He's Kadavi Kadash Merabara, Mati Bracker, Tegamli, Mapute, Bakon, Bimekon, Kobe, Israel, Labis on Karim, Amen, Ishmira, Bamivara, the Alamami, Shabbat, Parijo, Mampi, the Savi, to the Rita Lady, to Lashmi, Kushaberi, Kuina, Bingo Berkata, the Shivra, Tatish, Bakata, Mata, Tamiram, Yamari, Madru, Hame, Titkabat, Latono, John to Holy Israel, Katambo, and Vish, my Madru, Hame, Ishlamara, Hamin, Jumaya, Malina, Poisterly, Madru, Hame, Hoste Shalom, the Roma, yes, Shalom, Linu, they'll Poisterly, Miru.
Amen. En Kelohenu, page 204.
En Kelohenu, En
Kelohenu, En Kelohenu, En Kemoshienu, Mi Kelohenu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Kelohenu, Mi Kemoshienu.
Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonai,
Baruch Lakeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atau Eloheinu, Atau Adonai, Atau Makeinu, Atau Moshienu, Atau Shektiru Avoteinu, Lefanecha Getoret Hasamim. Please rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu L'Shabbat Adon, Nako, Latei L'Aseh, Shelo Asani Ve'eranso, Velo Samanu, Shelo Adama, Shelo Asani Ve'eranso, Velo Aleinu Ve'kol Hamanam, Ve'anahu Morim, Nishalani Morim, Nifnei
Temple Beth Am continues to mourn the death of Judy Miller, beloved, longtime philanthropic member of our community. Passed away this week. We extend condolences to her entire family, to Larry, who's a member of Beth Am, and to Philip and Karen and their families. Shiva continues tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock at Philip's home on Bagley. I think it's 2238 Bagley. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday evening at Larry's home on El Camino. And also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning at Philip's home. If you're attending the Shiva Wednesday morning and you are a Bechor, you're a firstborn, and you would normally attend a Siyum, there will be a Siyum at that minyan so that you can feast that day instead of fast. All those who are in mourning or observing Yortzeit, please rise for Mourner's Kaddish, page 207. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad dibrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael b'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabba mevorach le'olam ne'amei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbichata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Seh shalom imramav uyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Amen.
So no, I feel like I have been saying this a lot recently at Bnei Mitzvah, and that is that I remember when you were born. That's what happens when you're in your 14th year in a community and you're celebrating with families that have been involved for so long. I remember meeting your parents, and then your mother becoming pregnant, and all of a sudden Noah arrived and added great color and great beauty to this already wonderful family. And I remember years before you can actually have memories of where you would sit in the front of the sanctuary, first in like a car seat or something, or some kind of a baby carriage, which meant that you grew up before you even knew that you were you, before you even could articulate. You grew up in Jewish culture and Jewish ritual, and in this community, in this room. It didn't look like this room then, but before you even were aware of the notion that one day you'd become bat mitzvah in this room, you were a presence in this room. And so for the people who've been active members in this community, your face has been a central part of our world for well over a decade. And I also want to remark how sweet it is that in addition to your work with Robert, our beloved tutor at Tel Beth Am, you got to work with your Saba. And that's just a very special thing. And I know that you know that's a special thing, but I want to say that again out loud, because when that can happen in a family, it's really worth remarking on. Noah, there are parts of you that stand out obviously, right? Your sporting achievements, your physical strength, and your ability up on a bima, and your smile. And there are things that when you spend just a little bit of time, guys, thanks. A little bit of time with you, it's very obvious how hard you work, and how much you're beloved amongst your family and friends. And we all have aspects of us that stand out in that obvious way. There are also parts of a soul, and maybe sometimes the most beautiful and important parts of a soul, that are not as visible. One of the things that I've learned about you is that you are extremely trustworthy, and that you can keep a secret, and that your friends feel around you that they're in the presence of someone that they can really rely on. That's not always so obvious at a first glance. And then in addition to your physical strength and your athletic accomplishments, you have an inner strength and goodness that you're not shouting about, that you're not broadcasting, but is a part of who you are, part of the family that you come from, but also your unique way of being you in the world. And I want to say something from the Parsha about the relationship between public displays of our goodness and more quiet ones. So the opening lines of the Parsha, which you read, has a verse that says, Savat Aharon v'panav lemor, command Aaron and his children, saying, Zot Torah ta'olah, this is the law of the sacrifice that gets completely burned up on the altar. Hi ha'olah al mokdah, it's on the source of its flame. A moked is the place where something is burning. And on that word mokdah, which you read, you may have noticed as you were reading and preparing it, that the mem of the word mokdah is small. It's not a scribal error. When the Sofer wrote that Torah, didn't make a mistake. There's a tradition going back thousands of years that there's some letters in the Torah that are bigger and some are smaller. We never know exactly why, but it gives us opportunities to try to imagine reasons. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kutsk, who was the Kutzker Rebbe, a Hasidic Rebbe a couple hundred years ago, whose texts and whose views on life we still study, says that mem is saying something, that small mem, about the source of a flame. What he says is that our internal shalhevet, our internal flame, not the high school, that is burning within us, right? Rather than shout about it, rather than trying to turn it into a headline, the small mem at the beginning of that word that represents that flame is reminding us that sometimes the most important parts of us are quiet, are things that people know about us over time, things that we know about ourselves, and it means that we're going to contribute something beautiful and good to the world. We don't always have to shout everything about us. Some things are obvious and visible. Some things are private and then also extraordinary. I want to praise you, Noah, for having a bit of both, having aspects of you that people can pick up instantly as to who you are, the values of your family, and what you believe about the world. And there are parts of you that you only get to know after you spend a long time with you. And you realize the essence and the quality of your neshama, and the essence of the quiet, humble goodness that's inside of you that comes out and becomes a great shalhevet over time. And I'm looking forward to continuing to know you and watch you grow as your family continues to be a part of this community, and seeing that small m, that small mem in the word, both stay humble and quiet, but over time turned into a grand flame that's going to illuminate and warm the world. And I wish you a mazel tov on this beautiful day and this beautiful achievement. And I want to invite to the bima the president of Temple Beth Am, Mark Samuel, who will give you some gifts and some words.
Hi. Mazal tov. Mazal tov to your entire family. We're just really excited. I was actually on my way to shul this morning, and I was thinking about, recently we've had so many Noahs having bar bat mitzvahs in the sanctuary, and I'm wondering if that was like a sign because we had a lot of rain. That said, today's just been a beautiful day. You brought so much brightness into our shul, into our sanctuary. You did a terrific job, and we're just so proud of you. So mazal tov, Noah, to you and your entire family, Kobe, Michal, all of you, mazal tov, the whole entire family. I don't remember your names, but I'm very excited for all of you. Anyways, we have a bag. This is your official bat mitzvah certificate, mazal tov. On the back, you have a free TV18 membership for your 8th grade year. We have some kiddush cups from the Men's Society, or I think we should, or they're actually candlesticks. We have a Tanakh from the Sisterhood. We have a book called Israel Matters. And my favorite, the socks from the Jewish Teen Initiative. So mazal tov to your entire family. We're just so excited for you. You did a terrific job, and we're just proud of you. Mazal tov.
I want to do a few quick announcements. A few quick announcements about things that will be happening today and throughout the week. Today at 1 o'clock, you're invited, if you'd like to come back into the sanctuary. People from all different minyanim are invited. We're having what we're calling an Ohel Hidabrut, a tent of conversation, in response to the email I sent out this week on the current situation in Israel. If you'd like to come and be a part of that conversation, particularly if you're coming both to articulate something and to listen to others' opinions with an open mind, we'd love to have you. We'll continue that conversation for as long as people want to, so it's not going to start at 1 and end at 1:15. It might go on for quite a bit of time. No one obviously is obligated, but we'd love to have you. This afternoon, we have a special guest for Sudash Lishit, Jonathan Maimon, who is a local documentary filmmaker whose next film is on Israeli folk dancing and that aspect of Jewish and Israeli culture. He's going to be presenting in between Mincha and Mari, that's Sudash Lishit, and then after Shabbat is over, and we can use electronics, he'll be showing some clips that might make it into the documentary that's coming up. So if you're interested in that topic, we'd love to have you. He's really a fascinating presenter. This week, of course, Pesach begins Wednesday morning, Minyan, 7:30, followed by the Siyum Bechorot for firstborns who would be otherwise obligated to fast. The rabbis have been studying a tractate of Mishnah, and we'll be finishing it that day. And because of our study, you'll be able to eat. So join that morning. And of course, the Shiva Minyanim for the Miller family is still going on. And we wish everyone a Chag, Kasher, V'Samech, and a sweet and joyful Pesach. There's also koshering tomorrow morning. If there are utensils that you're relying on the shul to kosher for you to get ready for Pesach, I think the koshering station will be open from 9 to 11:30 in the downstairs kitchen. Finally, somewhere around you, there are these two-sided cards that give you a good sense of everything that's happening in the community. Some of it is a little bit outdated because it happened a few weeks ago, but it'll give you an indication of all the things that are coming up. And please take it and take it home with you so that you can be fully aware and not only rely on emails going out. We're going to conclude with Adon Olam, Noah and friends invited to the Bima, page 211. Please rise for Kiddush. Bisham Rufanesh Vela Shabala Shabala Dortam Beritola Menu Bemenes Otililam Kishe Shimi Mastaranai the Shemam Darat Gomashi Shabbat by the Pasha for Zafar Jumashoy Karsho Sheshim Debod Vasita Komatak Viomash Shabala Nalachalota Sakomaha Tab Havidaka Abdaka Mafum Takabaka Shemisharecha Kishe Shimi Mastaranai the Shemam Darat Etayamakola Sherbam Bayana Viomashi Yakin Berachanai Jumashababa Kadasheu Sarim Arnan Rabanan Rabatai Baruch Taranai Machala Morei Priya Gafer. All right, now come forward and you'll do lead Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai the Muslim Amen.
Take a bite. You have to. That's bracha. You have to. You got to celebrate. Celebrate. It's a challah. Mazal tov, everybody. What's that? Shabbat shalom. Kiddush is next door. Shabbat shalom.